Hello, I'm Dr. Larry Carnes, and welcome to Books of the Month. We're excited to have you with us today, and we are so thrilled to have a very, very special guest with us, Barbara Brink. Barbara, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you, Dr. Carnes. I'm great.
I tell you, we're honored to have you with us today, and I'm fascinated by this fascinating book that you've written. I've been looking at it and just navigating this journey. Introduce yourself to our viewing audience and tell them a little bit about who you are and about this fascinating book.
Thank you so much. I'm in love with this book. Oh my gosh. So, Dr. Carnes, I retired from teaching. I taught for 49 years science. I taught science. I know, right? It's unbelievable. 49 years. And I started writing biographies about scientists. And I write my books to the age group of my former students. So I write to the age group of about junior high and high school.
Okay.
All right. And they're biographies, but I fictionalize them with a character who is the age of my reading audience.
Fascinating.
Oh, it's so much fun. It is so much fun to put all this science into a biography that children will enjoy. So I started with, no, I don't want to show you that one. I started with traveling with Isaac Newton. So they take a trip, get it? Traveling,
yes.
Force and motion. So Isaac Newton and his neighbor traveled together and we learned force and motion. And I went, golly, this is such a good formula to entertain my readers and teach science.
Yes.
My next one was on the island with Charles Darwin. So the islands are Galapagos.
Okay.
And oh my gosh, so much fun, so much fun. The giant tortoises, etc. The next one I wrote was in the springtime with Rachel Carson. Rachel Carson taught us to love our environment. And so my little heroine in this book meets Rachel, and together they solve the problem of the silent spring that Rachel Carson wrote about.
Okay.
And now this one, oh, Dr. Carnes, I'm so excited. During the pandemic with Edward Jenner. Now,
Okay.
Dr. Carnes, Edward Jenner invented vaccination. So this one is so relevant to right now with our crisis of COVID.
Yes.
But this was 200 years ago, smallpox.
Wow.
So I'm so excited about my science books. I'm excited about the stories, the history, so much fun. You learn so much. There's so much fun. But today, Dr. Carnes, we're going to talk about my fifth biography, Through the Microscopes of Antoni van Leeuwenhoek.
Pronounce that last name again.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, okay, I'm not even going to try to mess that up.
Well, you're just giving me a lot of credit because I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I don't speak Dutch. So I say Leeuwenhoek.
Yes.
I don't know, darling. We just read
That's
the
good.
story and it is so yummy. Dr. Carnes, listen. This one is a little different than my first four that I told you about.
Yeah.
Because these people right here, my husband's family, Brink family, darling,
I noticed that.
Unbelievable. They owned, in the 1700s, they owned the Dutch East India Company. My husband's family were an import-export out of Amsterdam, out of Lubeck. They owned an export-import company for fabrics.
You know, I noticed when I was doing research on the book, I noticed how you take the microscopes and then the scientific and the microscope, and how the microscopes were used to look and explore the carpets.
Yes, yes. I mean, this is amazing. Here's the other thing to know, Dr. Carnes. The time is 1700s.
Yes.
It was a lavish, luxurious, over-the-top, extravagant cultural time. The people wore unbelievable wardrobes, unbelievable, unless you were a normal person like you and me. And then we wore linen. And the Brink family were exporters and importers of linen. Royalty wore silk, but that was all imported from the Orient.
Yes.
But the majority of the people in Africa, Europe, the Americas, both North America, South America, wore linen.
Okay.
And the Brinks imported, exported linen. Well, Antoni van Leeuwenhoek was a fabric merchant. So now we're ready to tell my story, and it becomes fiction. Antoni van Leeuwenhoek was a scientist. He didn't invent it, he used the microscope to study fabrics.
I thought that was so fascinating.
It's so beautiful, and the connection to my husband's family is so precious. Oh my gosh, it was such joy to tell about my husband's family while I'm telling the science. So in the story, Antoni van Leeuwenhoek comes to visit the Brinks to show them this new invention to study fabrics. You are exactly correct, Dr. Carnes. It was for the purpose of studying fabrics. However, Antoni van Leeuwenhoek said, you know what, if I can look at fabrics, I can look at insect wings. I can look at soil. I can look at onion skin. I can look at the dirt under my fingernails.
Okay.
So he meets a totally fictional character, an ancestor of my husband. She's totally fiction. I did name her after my husband's grandmother. I just felt a kinship to her, and I wanted to tie her into this story. But she's fiction.
Yeah.
So Antoni van Leeuwenhoek and a fictional character in the Brink family spend 2 weeks together in Amsterdam. How beautiful is that? Oh my gosh. And they're exploring. They look at barnacles off the ships. They look at cow's eyes. They look at skin. They look at the plaque on people's teeth. And the beautiful thing is, and I guess the punchline of all my books, Dr. Carnes, and you have a PhD, so you know what I'm talking about. I have a PhD. Baby, you know that in our educational journey, yours and mine, it was all about writing it down. Everything you studied, you kept notes and you wrote things down. Well, that's how scientists work. So Antoni van Leeuwenhoek wrote 50 letters to the Royal Society of London. He wrote down everything he observed, meticulous details and illustrations of organisms in the water. And he mailed those off to Royal Society of London. And that's why Antoni van Leeuwenhoek is famous. That's why we even know of him today. He wrote it down. It is recorded in history.
You know, it's important.
Letters.
Yeah, to have that, you know, we call it to have that paper trail. I know when I was working in the nuclear industry, you wanted to have a paper trail for everything that you were doing. So he has that paper trail. Now, you mentioned something here in chapter 1, you talk about a life of privilege. And I thought that was so fascinating, and how the mother took the opportunity to expose her daughter to different situations and different lifestyles that other people were living. I thought that was very interesting when you took that route.
Dr. Carnes, one of the things I'm proud about my books is I start one place and I come back to it. While Antoni and Helena are exploring with the microscope in Amsterdam, they visit every avenue of life. They visit with farmers, they visit with sailors, they visit with fishermen, they visit with ranchers. And thank you for noticing that. I love the fact that Helena touches so many aspects of society rather than just this level that her family has attained. No, everybody is connected. Absolutely, yes.
Yes. So she's in touch with reality. I thought that was so fascinating. And it gives the reader something where they can connect and say, oh, she understands where I am, and therefore they're drawn into the story.
I love you for that. Thank you so much. I love you for that. You mentioned the very first sentence says, hers was a life of privilege.
Yeah.
The very last sentence says, what made Helena's life privileged? What made it privileged? Was it her family's reputation? Was it her family's affluence? Or was it that she had the privilege of working with Antoni van Leeuwenhoek?
Yes. Wow. Wow. That is so fascinating, because we can look at life's experiences. Sometimes we can prioritize things the wrong way. But her life was so privileged because she had the opportunity to work with this person, this fascinating person, and then have the opportunity to journey and travel and navigate life with this person.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And I love you for making that connection. It's one thing, and it's fun. Now, I have to admit, it was really fun to write about her family's lavish, luxurious lifestyle. That was fun.
Yes.
And the readers will just go, wow, people lived like that? Well,
Absolutely.
some did. But the thing I value is that she was in touch with humanity, and her mommy.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes. And that's what jumped out to me as I was reading the book. She was in touch with humanity, in touch with reality, and then learned to appreciate and value the lifestyle that she did have.
I think so too. I do. And I even talk about that future generations valued what she had experienced with Antoni van Leeuwenhoek.
Wow. So your writing is transgenerational. Now we have 60 seconds. I want you to take this 60 seconds and tell people how they can get in touch with you if they want to connect with you, website, email, how they can purchase this fascinating book and anything of that nature.
I have a website, Dr. Carnes, www.author.barbara10brink.com. author.barbara10brink.com.
So very, very exciting, fascinating story, exciting journey as you're navigating and taking the trip with them, because your writings are so prolific that it actually captivates you and helps you navigate the journey with the people that you're writing about. Outstanding, just outstanding.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you for saying that.
Oh, we thank you. We thank you for you're so gifted to be able to draw us in. And all authors can't do that. They can't draw the audience in to make it realistic. But as I was reading it and captivated by it and just saw how intriguing and how exciting it was at the same time. So we really appreciate you for doing that. And again, I know that the book's available there on Amazon. And so we want to thank you so much for joining us, for being our guest today. You've been fascinating, you've been exciting, and we appreciate the gifts and talents that you have. I want to remind our audience, go and take advantage of this exciting book. Barbara, we want to thank you for being with us today right here on Books of the Month. Have an awesome, awesome rest of your day.
Thank you, Dr. Carnes. I love it. Have me back. I'm going to write some more, so have me back.
We look forward to reading your other books. Listen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.